Welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name is Grant. Today I'm unboxing a second edition, or as it's referred to, second echelon. This is Less Than 60 Miles from Thin Red Line Games, and this is Module 1 in the C3 system. It's an operational scale wargame system that deals with 1985, the invasion of Germany by the Soviets and NATO, and Soviets and the Warsaw Pact, with NATO defending Germany. So C3 stands for Command, Control, and Communication. It is probably three of the most important elements of any engagement. Making sure you can get your units to do what they need to do, guide them to where they need to be, and then control the situation as best as possible. It's almost impossible to do that, but this is a second echelon. So this is a second edition. The first edition came out in 2019, and since then they've had two additional modules. They are the Dogs of War, which was module number 2, and then Die Festung Hamburg, which came out earlier this year, followed by the second echelon, second edition copy of Less Than 60 Miles. You'll notice it is the Fold-A-Gap. The game is designed by Fabrizio Vianello, and he is the owner of Thin Red Line Games, and really does a great job of putting these games together, doing the research. I've done a couple of interviews with him. Very interesting gentleman, and they make a really high quality product. The game looks nice. The only thing I don't like about the boxes is, you'll notice on the spine there's no name. It is on the bottom. Typically I put my boxes on the shelf like this, so that works for me. But this is a really nice production. It's a really great looking box, very heavy duty, with great content. So without further ado, let's go ahead and break into it. I am going to give you kind of a quick rundown. I've taken some notes here on a piece of paper about what is different. So I'll make sure and go through that with you. I'm not going to go through every element. We have yet to play this system. We do have a first edition copy that we unboxed in 2019. We pushed some counters around, but never really got around to playing it. I think that I want to, definitely, because we now have Die Festung Hamburg as well as this. These are big war games, and they need to be taken very seriously, and there's going to be a time commitment. So first thing you have is a roll of baggies to keep your counters. I'll probably do at least 1 or 2 trays because there's a lot of counters. You also have some event cards here. I'll go ahead and open these. Really nice quality. They're made well. I think they look very good. They have great photo art or maps, but I think they look really good. And they just have different events that happen. Play during NATO movement phase for something to happen. Play during air phase. You're going to get some deep strikes here. And then here you've got some of the Warsaw Pact events. Very similar events, just from that side. So these are used by the players. Really like the card backs on those. Very nice looking. Great graphic design and layout. Really even like the map, the operational map kind of shown there on the back of the cards. But very well done. Couple of 10-siders. Combat system uses 10-siders. There's an orange one and a black one. And then there's a whole bunch of paper here. There's rule books and player aids. So let's go ahead and jump into it really quick. First off, let me kind of run down with you what is different. And I'm not necessarily going to be able to point these things out. But as a second echelon, there's really 5 things that are, I would say, seriously different. One is there are rules updates to include recent features that have been added or highlighted in the module number 2, the Dogs of War, and module 3, Die Festung Hamburg. So you'll find those now included in the first echelon, or the second echelon of the first module, Less Than 60 Miles. Counters have been changed a little bit. I'll show you those in just a moment. Most used counters that require posture markers to be put on them have been moved to the back. So their posture markers have been moved to the back just to eliminate the need for those additional administrative counters. I think that's kind of cool. There have been revisions to both the NATO OOB and the Warsaw Pact OOB. One of those elements, the NATO OOB, representing changes have been made to West German Third Corps, as they are now a separate high-level command of their own. Previously, I think they were attached to or subordinate to another. And then there are some small changes to the map and scenarios. So I don't think anything huge, but there are definitely some changes. They've also given, I thought this was pretty cool, the field manual, the battlefield operations. This is like a quick start guide that will give you the basics of the system and get you kind of off and going fairly quickly. You can see everything's laid out there: bombardment, ground assault, combat, anti-aircraft fire, tactical movement, retrograde operations, operational planning. And they do have some nice graphics that kind of give you examples of what they're talking about. So that's like an 8-page quick start manual. I think that's kind of good. I think they're trying to help people get into the game. Here is a scenario booklet and designer notes. I think Fabrizio really has done a great job, and I will read these because I do enjoy reading them, particularly about Cold War Gone Hot, 1985, modern warfare games. There kind of have been a glut of those over the past 5 years, and I think this one definitely stands out. Here are the various scenarios laid out here, Campaign 1 and Campaign 2, but then there are some smaller scenarios: Spearhead, Steps of Our Fathers, The 11th Hour. So I think these are smaller scenarios that can be played a little quicker, and then you can jump into the campaign mode. I would think that they would recommend playing a scenario first just to get your feet wet. And then here are the rules of play. 23 pages, so not too bad. But you can see it's fairly dense, small text. So there's a lot of rules, and I'm not sure any of it is beyond most wargamers who do this and do Hex Encounter war games quite often. I think they're going to be able to pick it up. So yeah, look at the rule book there. I do not see a lot of examples or examples of play. Obviously, there's some order chits there that you're going to be pulling. They kind of show the layout of those, an HQ unit, some of the other units, command ratings, crossings, disengagement, lots of different things. Great index there at the very beginning, or table of contents. You're going to be able to find those rules fairly quickly when you're looking for them. So that should all combine to make this a more playable experience. Before we get to the counters, and there are a ton of counters, I want to make sure you understand that. Here's a whole bunch of player aids. There are about 6 of them. They are single-sided, but it's things like, here's the ground combat chart, various modifiers, ground combat sequence. Here are setup, order of battle sheets for SINTAG, Central Front Sector, orders of battle. Those are single-sided. Here's a turn track, basically, and command points. Electronic warfare points and air points are tracked, so you can see that. Here's the time track for NATO. This is the Warsaw Pact, and then this is the NATO time track and track. So yeah, you can see there are 4 nice player aids there. They're very good quality, made on thick paper. And then here are 2, I really appreciate it when designers and publishers do this. There are 2 of these charts and tables. So I'm not going to show you both of them, but it's got everything you need. Ground combat, modifiers again, orders chart, bombardment tables, interdiction, anti-aircraft fire, detection levels, postures. Remember, postures is a big part of this game, where they are, what they're ready to do. And then here are the movement factors for the map, the various terrains, and additional movement costs. So it's nice to see that there are 2 of those. These are really sturdy, and you're going to be able to give one of those to each player, which makes I think a big difference. The map's really big. We'll get to the map here in just a minute. There are a bunch of counter sheets. There are 6 full counter sheets. A lot of these are administrative markers. So, for instance, here are some administrative markers, double-sided. You've got different conditions, refitting. Here are, I can't remember what the dog tags are. I read those, but I can't remember. Those go up to 4 on the back. Here's a bunch of the units. These are more conditions, engagements, nuclear, because there can be nuclear strikes, defensive works that have been built, helo, air, artillery, electronic warfare effects, movement points, intel, a lot of other condition markers, posture markers. And then here we finally, on counter sheet number 3, get to the meat of the units. So fairly simple. They've got NATO symbols on them, combat factors, defense, and movement. They say what front they are to be on. So this one is the Central Front. 7th Panzer, got your delineations there. You've got ground to air markers. Here you have some move, assault, unit refit markers, other markers here that I'm not 100% sure what they are. But here you get more units. Obviously, these are, I would assume these are Warsaw Pact units. The red kind of tips that off to me. Really like the look of the, let me get that in there. The different, these are launchers, so they're shown there. Here's artillery, mobile assault guns. Here's some choppers, a couple of tanks. Really like those silhouettes that are used with those NATO symbols smack dab in the middle of those. Yeah, those are pretty nice looking counters, fairly simple. Then you've got some infantry there at the bottom. Double-sided, most of these are. A lot of HQ markers as well. And then here are some of the NATO forces, West German, U.S., etc. West German on this side, these are U.S. So yeah, pretty cool. Same thing. Lots of the silhouettes that are showing. You've got choppers, Abrams tanks, all kinds of different things. Looks really great. I really want to play this. Alexander and I need to kind of get our big boy pants on and just get these things out and play them. We'll go ahead and lay the maps out. I feel like the maps are a really nice feature of these games. I think they look really good. I also want to point out they're paper maps, but they have a very interesting and unique, let me go ahead and move these, feel to them. I don't know how to describe it. They almost appear like they won't tear, if that makes any sense. And I've got it flipped upside down. Sorry, let me flip it over. It's just really sturdy, really well made. I'm going to move those out of the way so I can get this down here a little closer, because I want you to be able to see a good majority of it. I'm not going to be able to get it all in the same shot. Actually, I probably can. If you'll bear with me, I'll just elevate my camera, crank it up a little bit. Hope you're not getting too seasick watching me. And I've got another game set up over to the right, so I'm trying not to get that in the shot. But, you know, faint hex lines, kind of in the middle of all these different types of terrains and elevations. Very interesting looking map. I find it very beautiful. I find it very attractive. And it makes me want to throw some counters down on this and go at it. So here's East Germany, kind of over on the right side. Koblenz is up here. Frankfurt is here in the center. West Germany is here. The Rhine River runs this way. You can see things. There's roads that are clearly marked. You have airfields here that are clearly marked. They're white, so they really stand out very well against the backdrop. Just a really nice looking map that I think is going to make the game very interesting to play. Overall, a very nice package. And as I mentioned, I've already kind of went through some of those differences from the first printing to this printing, so I hope you were paying attention at least somewhat to those. You're not going to get every element or remember everything I talked about, but really great looking game. I think this is very well done. Very excited to potentially, I'd like to clip this sucker and really get it ready to play, because it does have, there's a lot of appeal to these Modern Warfare 1985 Cold War Gone Hot games. Or is that just me? I always feel like I am very interested in them. Haven't played a whole lot of them, but they always do intrigue me, definitely. So there you go. There's a look at Less Than 60 Miles, C3 Module 1, Second Echelon, The Fulda Gap, from Thin Red Line Games. This just came out. They probably have sold out, but if you are still interested, you might want to go to the Thin Red Line Games website and check those out, because they typically go very quickly once they are up and ready for sale. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If I said something wrong, please forgive me. I am not an expert, particularly in Modern Warfare, but definitely looking forward to playing this, learning about it, enjoying it, and learning about the system as well. So thanks for watching. I've been Grant for the Player's Aid.